Hey, I'm Alex Radical from Board Game Co.
Oh.
And you
Hi.
Wait.
I'm Jesse from Quackalope. This is a lot of people around this
Yes,
table.
this table is not designed for 4 people comfortably. At least not on this side.
Yeah.
The other side, sure, but it doesn't make for a good video if you see the backs of 2 people and no one else.
This is not about the table, though.
Do we get to introduce ourselves?
Hi, yeah, go ahead. You do you. I'm Alex. Yeah, you do.
You
did
already
yourself.
said it. I'm Shira from Quack and Go.
Let's just all introduce him. He's Alex from Board Game Co.
I'm Rita.
No, you're supposed to say I'm Alex from Board Game Co.
Either way, today we're comparing 3 games.
In case you can't tell from the boxes in front of you, they are Calico, Verdant, and Cascadia.
So, fun fact, I've been calling it Verdant the
Verdant.
entire time because I think it sounds fancier. Apparently, it's just Verdant.
Yes. Oh.
Verdant sounds
I've
so
been
much
going
better.
by you.
I still like
Verdant, but Verdant is a thing.
I know.
Yeah.
But
That makes
Verdant
a lot
sounds
more.
fancy.
Makes all the sense now.
Either
lot
way,
more sense.
I thought it
Verdant.
was like a fancy Italian province or something.
Yeah, these are all going to be 3 games from Flat Out Games. Calico's been out for 2 years now. Cascadia just landed. It was a Kickstarter just hit. And now we have Verdant, which is on Kickstarter probably when you're seeing this video. So I'll have a link to that down below. This is going to be the trio from Flat Out Games. I believe it's distributed by AEG. And it's going to be a set of games where it's all about just combining things to try to fulfill multiple different scoring criteria all at once. We can get you in the frame over there if you'd like to actually have your face shown. But yeah, that's going to be the general overview of the games. Sure, do you want to cover one of them? Pick one. General
do I
overview.
want to cover
Very
one of
quick
them?
overview of one.
Okay. Calico, over there. You have 3 scoring objectives in the middle of the board, and you're going to be drawing these little patchwork quilt tiles to try and score the objectives. You're using the patterns in the frame of your board, and you're using the patterns of the tile to meet different things. And if you get colors in an organization, if you get 3 colors in a row, you'll get a color token. If you get all 6 colors, you'll get a rainbow token, and the goal is to get the most points.
Yeah, and in general, by the way, we don't have all the components out. I'm trying to do high-level overviews.
Verdant. Verdant here is going to be a game all about, well, pattern building and tile laying, or card laying in this case. Here you're going to be doing your best to collect a set of rooms and plants, each of which are going to be providing a certain type of sunlight, whether it's dim shade, complete darkness, or full-blown sun, to the plants next to them. You're going to be adding these little tokens here, which slowly mean your plant is blooming or becoming verdant. Yeah. I think that's the term.
I have
right?
no idea, honestly.
The object of the game is to do your best to select from a sequence of cards, both rooms and plants, and also always select a tile every turn. These tiles either are going to be set collection that get placed down on cards that allow you to score, or extra green tiles that allow you to add extra plant leaves to your plants. The end game scoring is going to deal with colors adjacent to each other from these plants with a different color symbol in the card, and also rooms that have matching tiles. It's a bunch of set collection and placement down. Yeah. I was much more confident before I started.
You were much longer than
You
me.
want to cover Cascadia?
No.
No. Okay, so I'll cover Cascadia. Cascadia is going to be the one where you're basically building out various herds of animals, although I believe different animal types have different names for herds. But either way, the point is every single turn you're going to select a combination of a tile and an animal, and then start laying them around, trying to build different patterns. You can have a set of cards, all of which give you different criteria for how the salmon score this game, how the foxes score, how the bears score, how the bears score. I always say bears. But either way, you're going to be going through that, trying to basically try to figure out the best combination as you slowly gather 20 different animals across 23 different terrains, trying to, again, manage multiple different scoring criteria in that game.
A moose, a gathering of moose?
It's called an elk.
Called a stencil of moose.
A stencil of moose. We learned something new today, in addition to Verdant, apparently. But either way, that's going to be a high-level overview of these 3 games. Now,
Jesse just likes making up random facts
No,
that are not correct.
it's because their horns, when they're all linked together, if you see them in a crowd, looks like various shapes of stencils, and so people would sit on their back porch. They'd look into a crowd of moose and try to make pictures like you can in the leaves.
That's beautiful.
This is very Googleable.
That's beautiful.
Yep, it is very Googleable.
Google
Comment
it.
down
Check
below.
It. Comment down below. I challenge you.
So this goes into the play this, not that general video. We haven't really covered the format I have here. I'm not going to be sticking to the regular, strict format we have for play this, not that. The series in general compares a bunch of games and then tells you which ones we prefer. It's not always not that. Sometimes it's just, hey, there's 3 games and here's what we prefer and why.
I mean, high level, let's just start where they're all the similar, and then maybe start differentiating where they're different.
Sure.
Is that fair? I mean,
Sure.
It's similar because, like you said, it's going to be a combination of some type of resource or token selection, whether it's a card, a tile, or in this case, a tile, along with pattern building and placement that sequence or create an efficiency puzzle that you're trying to solve for victory points.
Yep.
There's a mix of set collection, whether it's trying to get a row of fish or a herd of moose, or potentially get your plants adjacent to one another, or here it comes down to like puzzle solving and tile laying.
The variability comes from different scoring objectives.
The high level objective of each game is pretty much the same.
Yeah, and while we're covering things that are the same across the board, price point's going to be the same across the board for these. They're all going to be the
Box size
same
as
line.
well.
Box size, price point, all that. Let's start with the easy one, get out of the way, in terms of art and theme. Starting with you, what's your favorite art and theme from these three, and why?
Ooh. Theme-wise, I would say Calico is my favorite because it's...
Cats? And yeah, okay, it's quilts.
No.
It's quilts. It's quilts. I don't know why I went to cats.
I knew that part.
I can't handle cats. I'm allergic to cats.
I don't know why I went with cats.
I'm allergic
But either
to
way,
cats.
yes.
No, it's the patchwork. I also like the colors. It's pretty. It's fun. I don't know. They're all high levels of stress.
Well, we'll get to that part soon. I'm talking with theme and so theme and art. I agree with you. Calico
This
is my
one, I would say, is my favorite. This one allows me to actually keep plants alive, which is something that I can't do
in real life.
in real life ever. I think I've killed every plant that we've ever owned. And Cascadia it's fun, but like I have so many animal games that we've played.
Yeah, for me, it's going to be the order's going to be Calico, Cascadia, Verdant in terms of theme. Plants don't resonate with me at all. The art's gorgeous. It's Beth Soap, I believe. The art's gorgeous, but I don't really care about plants. I love the color, just sheer color, and cats.
You
and quilting.
also don't care about animals.
I know, but choosing between different types of things I don't care about, you have to choose.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then I like Cascadia more. The premise of building out various herds of animals appeals to me slightly more. But yeah, Calico, Cascadia, Verdant for me.
For me, it's going to be the exact opposite. It's hard stop on plants, then we go down to Calico, and then we swing over to Cascadia. This, to me, is a bit too abstracted and I can't resonate with the theme as much.
Even with the stencil of moose?
Even with a stencil of moose. I have a problem with the room layout in this, which we might get to because it really does frustrate me.
Sure.
But I do really like the flavor text. I like the cards. I think the artwork here is the best. I think you can actually learn something while you play the game, which I really appreciate. And over here with Calico, it is nice. It's a nice like pattern that you're building out. I like putting the buttons on the quilt itself. I wish they were real buttons. I also wish they were real cats. You can't get everything you want in the world.
I think we're all very different. I like Cascadia the best. I love animals. I love being outside. I love nature. I love the vibrant colors in this, the different terrains, and what it's doing. I love Cascadia the most. Then I did Calico, which I like the colors as well. Colors really speak out to me. This has too much white going on. It's boring. Plants.
But you learned so much. I learned all the plants that I can get and can keep alive.
I
learned
the
so
text.
Much. Yes, I
Did you?
the only
text.
time I read the flavor text.
I don't read the text. It's so tiny. You need like glasses and magnifying
Hens
glasses.
and chicks.
Sure,
Audience.
of course.
Hens and chicks. Named for the way the plant grows in a cluster around the main plant and suited for dry climates, it possesses adaptations enabling it to absorb water from the air.
We know.
You don't even have to water this plant.
Flavor
I
text.
looked through all of them. I hate flavor text with a passion. I read all the cards to find out which one's for a plant that I could buy.
That's
I
impressive.
like flavor text, but I don't know. This one was the worst in theme and in artwork for me.
Yeah, sure. So
I
moving
can't
on.
keep plants alive either, and I didn't enjoy artificially keeping plants alive that I couldn't touch and smell and feel.
Moving on to
This is
teach
more
and
tactile.
accessibility. Teach and accessibility, how do we feel about these three in terms of what's the most accessible, the easiest to learn, easiest to teach, easiest to play? I mean, for myself, I think they're basically floating mostly in the same zone.
They're so similar.
Yeah.
I personally, if I was going to get one to the table and try to teach it, I think Cascadia might be the easiest to teach.
Yeah.
I think Calico would be the most difficult, not necessarily to teach, but the high-level strategy, I think, is a little bit
Yeah.
more advanced.
You kind of have to
Yes.
fail once or twice before you're like, oh, that's how I build things.
Because you have to
Yes.
prepare to fail in it in a way that you don't necessarily to the same extent of the others.
So yeah, that was what I was gonna say. The difference, like teaching, is how much time it takes really to teach. Skill level is the entry skill level. Like I know you've been playing this with some of your kids.
Yep.
I think Calico as well is the hardest one to actually. You have such a tight grid that you're working with. That I think it's the hardest, and I think Cascadia is the easiest because there's so much flexibility and so many different goals that you can go for.
Which I think is a good segue into mechanics between the three, because I think I agree with you to that extent offhand with Cascadia. Calico. Calico has almost the premise that you can score perfectly. You won't, but it almost has that premise that you can. And then we move to Verdant, which is giving you a whole bunch of ways that you have a strict grid you're playing with, but you're not going to be able to mix everything up perfectly. This card will not match that card one way or another.
That's the big thing for me here. It sets you up so that there's no way you could be perfect, whereas this one gave me the promise of that.
Yes, and then
Perfectionists
Cascadia,
beware. Be careful with Calico.
and then Cascadia is going to have the most open completely in terms of you don't have a grid at all. You're not trying to fit into a specific pattern at all. You build it out the way you want to build. The only restriction you have is you're getting 20 animals across your terrain. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Anything else we want to touch upon in terms of mechanics? There's a lot to go down here.
In terms of overall mechanics, let's talk about the way that you actually draw tiles, which is not something you have set up here, but I think it is an important part for each one of these games because it's one of the areas where they're similar, but they also start differentiating themselves. In Calico, you're going to have 3 available tiles and also 2 in your hand, and so you'll draw from a available pool. Yep. You'll place 1 into your hand. You'll place 1 on your board, then draw from an available pool, bringing you back up to 2. So you're always working with a bit of a delay, but you do always have to pick from a limited reserve. Over here in Verdant, you're going to have a layout of 3.
4.
A layout of 3 high.
Oh, gotcha.
So you're going to have a row of tiles in the center, then you're going to have a plant card on the top and a room card on the bottom. Every turn you're choosing to take one of the tiles, which are set collection and or bonuses, and you're going to take either a top card or a bottom card, giving a bonus to the card that you neglected, which rewards someone else taking it in the future. You have a little bit more of an open selection, but the thing that you take, you have to immediately play, with the exception of saving 1 tile for later. And then over here for Cascadia, I don't entirely remember how you take things from
There's
Cascadia.
You're going to have, again, 4. You're going to have 4 tiles
4
and then
terrain
4
and
tokens
4
below
animals.
it. And you're, again, trying to pick a
Remember,
combination.
so it's actually almost right in between the both
Yes.
of them because you're picking a combination of tile and token. Okay.
Verdant almost feels like a combination of these two in some of the aspects.
I like how they all have bonus tokens. In here you have acorns that allow you to
Yeah.
mix and match, and here you have
The green thumbs.
the green thumbs. Over there you didn't really have
You don't
many
have a bonus
bonuses except the
tokens.
colors that you're going
Yeah.
for that are little private
You
goals.
have cats
But
and
you
buttons.
you can't do anything with these buttons. You can't
Correct.
trade them in to swipe anything as you can with
It's
Verdant
bonus
and-
Also the
scoring,
flower
not trading.
pots and the shovels and the watering cans over there.
Yeah. You were going to say something?
The fertilizer. No. You can
Yeah.
do more things in Verdant. I
Verdant.
think.
In what sense? Just in terms of the various combinations of different things, or like the Verdant I think does have probably the most different scoring. If you look at the scoring card for Verdant, Verdant has like 15. Like you were like starting to go through 3, and you're like, I'm not gonna know what to cover all. It does have a lot of different things. Calico is going to have 3 things basically. You're gonna have the 3
Pretty
bonus
straightforward.
tiles. You're gonna have the buttons you earn and the cats you earn. That's gonna be Calico. Cascadia is going to have primarily 2 things. It's going to have the animal patterns, then the actual terrain types that match up, and then you get tokens. You get bonus points for any acorns you have remaining. And then Verdant has like 7 things. You have for the rooms you score. You have for remaining Verdant on different cards. You have for item pairs. You have for the various flower pots. You get bonus points for those as well. You have for the rooms. You get bonus points if the room color matches.
The plant's completed.
Yeah, and we haven't even shown you the various advanced scoring achievements that will give you other things. Verdant definitely has the most going on in terms of the scoring variability.
Base game, yes, but I did not like the scoring objectives for Verdant. I felt like they were so bland in comparison to the amount of points that you can get just by working
I
within
didn't
the
pay
grid.
attention to them at all.
Yeah, so I think you can get I don't think you actually need to pay attention. It was giving you 2 points, 3 points here and there.
I mean, keep in mind,
No, I won that game by going for all the things. I got like 35 points.
For the objective
So
specifically.
maybe it's different objectives. Like we had one that was literally giving you 2 points for
but our
something.
last game of Verdant was what, 96, 95, 94? Was
Oh,
that
yeah,
the
it was
scoring?
pretty close.
I think 2 points here may have mattered.
Might actually be an important
Yeah, I
factor.
think that was literally our last scoring was 96, 95, 94.
But it's interesting because, and I think all the games we've played, like the scores have been relatively
Fairly close. Yeah.
I
Although
don't know
will
what that says about the game, though.
To me, it says it's with an efficiency puzzle. It says that we're all playing about equal.
Yeah.
And the games are fairly well balanced.
Well, speaking of which, that's a good segue to something I know you have a problem with, which is let's talk about the luck factor in these 3 games.
Yeah. So let me just go ahead and establish and get this out of the way. I don't actually love any of these games. They really just aren't the type of game for me. They don't dive into theme enough for me to feel completely immersed, and then you start mixing in the luck. The way that you start selecting and taking tiles, for me, is way too random for something that is a controlled pattern. Now, the thing I don't mind the most is going to be right here in the center. I really didn't like Calico. I was so constantly frustrated. And I think you pointed out at the beginning of this review, Calico promises me that I can play perfectly. The problem is that every set of patterns and colors only have a sequence of 3 tiles. And if it's not on my turn, especially in a 4-player game, and the tile comes out before it's my turn to draw up, I am losing that tile. And if my game was built around having one or two of those in my deck, it is such a frustrating moment to realize that the thing you could have done, due to just luck of the draw, you can no longer do.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't stand it.
We had that happen
A lot. I mean,
a lot.
Cascadia Calico, more than any of these other games, is going to rely on someone saying, I need the purple polka dot. I need the purple polka dot. You're not going to have that same...
Without exception.
Yeah, the same degree it won't be present in these other two. And it is the most punishing when that happens. Now, I think there's...
Cascadia is the easiest. I think
Yes.
because there are so many different scoring objectives that you can go for, when everything comes out, you're like, okay, well, I can start going for that one if this comes out and I can't really get it. I think this one has the least luck mitigation.
So Cascadia is the easiest, but for me, and luck mitigation would be the accurate thing, for me, this one has the most control out of all
I
of
don't
them.
think so.
I thought
For
there was
me, it does, because there's always a middle action, which some of your tokens could just be bonuses.
Sure.
You have the top and bottom of 4 cards. Usually, 1 or 2 of those are beneficial to you, and with the combination of the thumbs, which is a bonus resource that allows you to mix up the way you draw tiles. I always feel like I have control. There's moments of frustration where the right set just isn't out there for me. I'm okay with that degree of luck. I feel like this one doesn't give you control over what you're taking. It just lets you
It
take
has
something.
Acorns.
It has acorns, the exact same things that the
I know
thumb
it splits
does.
it, but there's less things to choose
There's
from
4
as well.
choices
There's 4
here, and
choices.
there's 4 choices
And
there.
when it has
The
3
ta- no,
that comes
he's
out, you
technically
can...
right.
Okay,
You
there's
have a
8
top and bottom.
Yeah.
8 cards a
Yeah.
hear.
But-
But if you're looking for certain ones, and you also have to factor in how long it's going to take you to score them.
Yeah.
If you get too many that are high at the end, then you're not going to be able to score them all.
Yeah.
Is that a problem?
No, for me,
Light one.
Calico is defined as I need the purple polka dot. Verdant is defined as I need the blue room. Not as hard, not as punishing, but I still need something, and
Specific blue room.
I'll still be placing something. Like, look at this card here. This card should be a yellow plant right there. That would be scoring off of these 3. But I didn't get it at the right time. I mean, I set it up randomly,
It's
but
Scoring
it's
from the purple plant.
yeah, it's so brutal when you have these things. Cascadia is the only one where I feel I've never really felt like I was negatively hit
You
by
can
luck.
do something with anything.
Basically.
Now, the problem is different things score in different ways.
100%.
And so if you pay attention to it, close attention, missing out on a bear to create the pattern of bear that you need, or missing out on a fish to go in that river section, could be the difference of the points that it takes to win the game. It just doesn't feel like
The
it
difference
as
is
much.
the acorns in Cascadia clear the animal tokens, which are usually the things I need the most. Versus in Verdant, it clears the middle tokens, and the rooms, the things that I want change up on, I can't get.
In terms of tenseness, what was the most tense game for?
The Calico.
Frustrating is not tense.
Your groans and moans throughout the entire game would
Very
say
stressful.
otherwise.
I think the frustration you have comes from that fact that you want perfection and you won't achieve it. I recognize I won't achieve perfection. I'm fine with that.
I mean, now I would play the game differently as I continue to play it, but I just don't... I didn't love the system. This one, for me, has the most intense interest. When I'm playing the game, the puzzle I'm solving here is the most engaging out of all of them.
let's talk about variability. Which ones are going to keep coming? Which ones are we going to keep coming back to based on the variableness of the systems?
I think this has the most variability.
Really?
Each
Yes.
species has 4 or 5
5
different cards. 5 different cards times
Well, to be
5.
clear, 5 with the, I think, Kickstarter bonus pack. I think it's 4 retail.
But
So 5 times 5 is 125.
A whole bunch of options. Although, to be fair as well, I would complain that a lot of the cards do feel similar. So even though there are 5 different cards, I'd really say I feel like there are 3. And then small minor variations. But still, I feel the variability in Cascadia is going to be high. Calico is going to come down to, you're going to have 3 different scoring tiles from 6, and then different cats that don't really feel like the game becomes different. And then Verdant's going to have almost no variability outside the variable scoring goals. The basic game is going to be the exact same every single time, and the variability will come from which cards come out and which combinations of things, but the actual game doesn't change outside the scoring goals.
sure, I hear.
I wish they had a more middle token. You're saying there's only 6 middle tokens
only 6,
for
yeah.
Verdant? I wish they had more. I think because you're only choosing 3 goals, I think you can have a lot more variability if you had, let's say, 9.
So I think it's a math problem. How many times can you actually subdivide groupings of 4,
Right.
3, 2?
I
I actually haven't done the math on whether they got it all perfectly, but it feels like they may have tried to get all
Yeah,
the combos.
went to the top of it.
Yeah. I mean, although the question is, can you be cleverer in different ways? Like, scoring
Creating
for...
rows or patterns or
Yeah.
things like that. Yeah,
That would
make
be an
a
interesting
smiley
conversation.
face.
Make a smiley face, exactly. That's what we want in our games.
Sure.
But yeah, that's going to be a stencil of smiley faces on buffaloes. Anyways, yeah, that's going to be that. Any other categories you want to cover?
AP. Struggles.
Good question.
Analysis paralysis.
We all have experienced a degree of it with all of them.
Yes.
I would venture to say and it might just be because I'm the most invested in the puzzle, this one probably takes me the longest to solve in my mind. But this one was delayed just for the sake of staring at something and wanting to reject reality.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
Yeah, I think that's the longest. Also, in terms of time, like how short
That's
and
the
long
longest.
these. I think Calico's the longest. I think this is the quickest and easiest to cycle
Yes.
through, and
Yeah.
I think this falls in the middle.
I would completely agree with that. And I think it's because of that perfection aspect. Calico promises perfection, Verdant requires a grid, and Cascadia just gives you a free open world.
I got to a point in Calico where I was able to tell the table, because I'd just been staring at it for like 20 minutes straight. I was able to say, I've gotten down to the point where I know the 5 tiles I have to have, and if I don't have them, the game's
Oh
broken.
yeah,
be fair,
I
he
got
got
to
like
that
4
point.
of them.
I
Oh,
got
yeah.
that point too,
I
and
still
then
got
you
like 4
took
of them.
one of the tiles
it
I
happens.
needed.
Did you yell and scream? You
She
guys
did.
did.
Oh, she
She got
yelled and screamed.
very
She
angry.
I
yelled
got
and screamed.
very upset. I did
that
throw a
too.
little fit.
Whereas,
Okay,
whereas
does
in
it too.
this, there was never a point. I was always solving the puzzle that was in front of me, and there was never a point where I was like, I know the perfect things to come out. There's just and variability. All of these are a degree variable.
The only thing that I need the perfect thing to come out are the little tokens. I need an
Yes.
X color and an X
That's
design because I have a yellow room and I want a yellow token that I don't have it anywhere else on my board
Yeah,
because
that's
you want
fair.
the set of 7. You want the set of 8.
Yeah, when
So
you have
that
this
is
room
the
over here,
annoying.
like when you can basically score an extra 3 points right off the bat from having that right token,
Yeah.
it matters. It
Yeah.
adds up.
It does, especially with how close the scores are.
Anything else? We want to move to rating the games and which one where we land.
So,
There's 4 of us in 3 games, so someone's going to pick the same game twice.
well, I'm trying to think if there's other things that I wanted to hit on and cover here. I guess not.
I hit most of mine. I want to cover
The
variability.
last thing that I want to say, I guess, can be tied to the ratings. So
Sure.
yeah.
So let's go ahead and move on into it.
Sorry for
Jesse.
wasting 20 minutes.
Jesse, what is your favorite game and why?
Yeah. So
If you could only play one and keep one.
oh no, it's an easy decision. It's like hands down. I don't want to own most of these games. I would not like to own Calico. I also would not like to own Cascadia. Oh, that was the thing that I was going to bring up.
Yes.
I would like to compare to other things in the world. The reason why
sure.
the reason why I don't want to own Cascadia is because Cascadia compares on a higher level to a variety of board games that I enjoy more. Yes, they take a little bit longer, but if I'm going to play this, I don't know why I just wouldn't find the time to sit down and play EOS one night.
Okay.
Like there's a lot of
Yeah.
these type of games. Or what's the God Loves Dinosaurs? The same idea of like building out a region. It doesn't score quite the same, but it still has that same sort of mechanic system. But EOS would be the more higher level comparison. I don't want, and I'll let you hop in on there.
Yeah.
I don't want Calico at all. I have no interest in playing it again. For me, Calico sits at a 2.
To be fair, 2 out of 5. Not
2 out of 5.
Our rating scales for context as we go through this. 1s are bad games. 2s are games we'd rather not play again. They weren't for us. Doesn't mean it's a bad game, but not for us. 3s are good games. 4s are great games, and 5s are the very best games.
So Calico sits at a 2 for me, and that is a bit of a personal spiteful 2. It is there. It is there not because I don't understand why other people enjoy it. I would happily recommend Calico to certain people. I, however, didn't get a lot out of it. Cascadia is gonna be like a 2.8. Like it's still not a game I want to play, but it's not as bad as Calico, so it has to be above there somewhere. It still probably rounds down to about a 2. This is like a 3.3, 3.5 for me. It isn't a 4. It's not a game that I'm running off the shelf to get, but I do intend to own this one. I like this one quite a bit. I like the puzzle that it presents, and I readily would tell people that if you're watching this and you enjoyed Calico or you enjoyed Cascadia, this, in my opinion, does both of them justice and is the better of the 3. And that's coming from someone that didn't like either of those, so hopefully that is still the case. That's my stance, though. That's where I am.
Start with Verdant. I rated that one a 4 before.
Okay.
I'm still gonna. It's like in between.
Is it eking down or is it eking up?
It depends on the day
Okay.
and the moment and how many plants I killed that week. I would still rate that one around a 4, but there are also other plant games that I prefer more. Like I like Herbaceous a whole lot more.
Yeah, oh, interesting.
Yeah.
And when I look at the time that it takes me to play Herbaceous or Verdant, then I would probably say Herbaceous is going to make it to the table a whole lot more. I would rate Calico anywhere between a 2.5 and a 3, also depending on what my mood is that day
Okay.
and how frustrated I am. Now that I figured out that you should do this one first, the one where they all have to be different.
Different, yeah.
If you start off with that one, it's much easier to get the points, but still, it's
It's brutal.
I did that
When
one
I play a
last.
game, I like to relax and not want to throw the board at the wall. So
It would make a
goes-
very nice sound when it hit the wall.
No, because all the teeny pieces
great
would go
production
underneath
quality.
and it would be very
Well, yeah,
frustrating.
it would be a hunk.
I would rather play patchwork.
Okay. So
I think that's a fair comparison.
you're pulling more from the theme. Both, no, you too. I was going to comment on your comparisons. Your comparisons are more theme-based than mechanic-based.
This one with EOS.
I also
Yeah.
would say EOS. If I'm going to play a game with cool animals and things like that, I want to have the EOS.
Yeah.
I way more enjoyed playing EOS than I played Cascadia.
Okay, cool. So from these three, how do you rate Cascadia?
3.
3. So Verdant wins for you as well.
I mean, it's plants and I haven't killed them.
We have 2 for Verdant so far.
Wow.
Shira?
No, you first.
Okay, no problem. So
I've been waiting all weekend
for
to hear
context,
yours.
I've been refusing. We've been playing this game
He
all
keeps
weekend.
being sleuthy. He's like, I know we just played this game, but I can't talk to you about it
It's
because I have to wait
Wednesday.
for the review.
I like. Oh, it's Wednesday. Yeah.
It's Wednesday.
We've been
All
playing
holiday.
it since last weekend. Anyways, so from these 3 games, it's worth noting that my ratings have really shifted as I continue to dive into each one of these. What started off with Verdant actually being my most liked from them.
Uh-oh.
Yeah, it's not my most liked now. In fact, Verdant is actually my least favorite from the 3. Although, to save you some time, they're all 4s for me. They're all games I would rate a 4 on my scale. I don't do the points so much. I just go straight for a solid number. They're all 4s for me. I enjoy them all, and I plan on owning all 3 of these games. But, well, I do own them. I plan on keeping them in my collection. But as far as these games, for me, Verdant is my least favorite. I don't have the theme and the prettiness and the tenseness of I need that thing that I have from Calico, but nor do I have the freedom I get from Cascadia. It kind of feels like it falls in the middle, not offering me either of the extremes. For me, Calico then shifted to being my most favorite, but the more I dive into Cascadia, the more I like Cascadia more and more and more. Cascadia is one that every time I play it, I have enjoyed it more, and it keeps rising, whereas Verdant and Calico, Calico I think stays the same each play, and Verdant started shifting down a bit because of that lack of variability. I want more variability out of Verdant. That's the one thing where I would say, that's the one at most danger of slipping from that 4 rating. Calico, I enjoy the puzzle. Variability is not a ton, but it's there, and I really enjoy the tenseness, but every time I dive back into Cascadia, I enjoy it more, and that's a win for me.
It's hilarious. I rate them all the exact same. I just don't rate them as high. So Cascadia, just because of theme. And I like to play games to have fun. I don't like to play games to be miserable and think about perfectionism and getting one little thing wrong and missing the entire game. Yeah, so this one is definitely my favorite. But I also do like games that make me think and have some element of stress. This one is just, like you said, it gives you midway, but not best at really anything. So I would want Cascadia the most, and I would rank it at a 4. I would rank Verdant at a 3 and Calico at a 3.5.
Nice. So apparently we got 2 for... I did not see this going this way, actually, at all.
I mean, we all knew Calico was going under the bus.
And we also
I like Calico a lot. I just like
the
Cascadia more.
colors.
It's also
very
the first.
pretty.
It's
very
also the
vibrant.
first in the design sequence, though. So like,
They're
it
improving.
does.
Yes.
It does make sense that they're iterating on things that they did well.
Oh, but I like it. Either way, that's been your Play This Not That of Cascadia, Calico, and Verdant, all from Flat Out Games. We have Jesse in the middle who thinks they're all okay-ish, maybe. Shira and I seem to like them probably the most, and then Rena likes, well, Verdant. Which one you like Verdant most? That's right, Verdant, then Cascadia, and both of you hate Calico, apparently.
I'd be happy.
I just like
I'd be happy to
Cascadia
own
more
Verdant.
than I do Calico.
Oh, you just like Cascadia the
yeah,
most?
they were switched.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha, yeah. So that's basically it. That's a wrap. Until next time, I'm Alex from Board Game Co. Someone to say something.
I'm Shira.
Thank you.
I'm Rena.
You're just gonna get up. Bye.
That works, honestly.